Okay, all. Thanks very much for everyone for joining. I hope everyone is enjoying the same beautiful, bright outlook that we're enjoying in the UK today. The sun is shining, and welcome to the fourth in the series of our EMEA Partner Masterclass program. My name is Mark Mason. I have the pleasure of leading the partner business across EMEA, and today I'm thankfully joined by Jason Broadbent and Jacques Michel on how Consul is being positioned and sold and adding value to multiple customers across the region. Jacques is an enterprise salesperson in France and has successfully sold and deployed Consul into many customers. And Jason is a field sales engineer, joined us relatively recently, comes with many, many years of experience selling into the networking space. And as always, the aim of the next 30 minutes is to provide a bit of an update and guidance and hear from our field teams on how we position Consul and the value of our enterprise tools and what that value is and how we can deliver to customers and prospects, and how you guys, as an extension of the HashiCorp sales organization, can create and deliver and find new opportunities and projects. So we'll take the next 20-25 minutes just to go through that, and then we will come back for a brief Q&A session. If there are any questions that arise throughout the course of the sessions, please use the Q&A box below, and then we'll get to those towards the end of the session. But for now, Jason, over to you.
Thank you, everybody, and welcome. Let me just get my presentation on the screen. Let's just remove some of the faces away. Okay. Can everybody just confirm that you can see that for me, please?
Yes, we've got that. Right.
Thank you. So my name is Jason Broadbent, and thank you for the warm introduction. I'm a solutions engineer for Consul and emerging products within HashiCorp. And today I'm going to give you some insight into Consul, the positioning, and how we feel we can help you in this new multi-cloud environment. So before I continue into showing how Consul helps, I think it's really important to get an understanding of what we're seeing within our industry and a transformation that is happening right before our eyes. You know, we're moving from this point of data center into this holistic view where our data could reside anywhere. And what a year we've all been living in. You know, online connectivity has been really integral and important to ourselves and really part of humanity. You know, it's not only imperative for businesses to provide and keep delivering their services, not for only their own survival and competitive advantages, but also providing a well-being for worldwide communities. As you can see, this is just one transaction that many of us done over the past 16 months, unable to move and unable to get to retail or get to a business of our choosing. You know, as you can see, it's right across the ubiquitous landscape. It's a porous environment, and I compare it to the ocean. You know, you don't see the endpoint or the start point. It just flows freely and moves freely. So technology doesn't have this single data center presence or one wall no more. We just have this free-flowing ocean of multi-cloud architecture. So how do we remove this complexity without removing security? How do we remove the boundaries of middleware that slows the operation of the landscape? And how do we remove that manual process and ticketing services that we could reduce that deployment to a crawl? And these are some of the things that I'm going to go through. And the challenge is, you know, the landscape is evolving, as I point out. You know, it's integral to physical devices as well as mutable devices. Sometimes can last no longer than minutes. Services can sometimes last very quickly. Well, it's distributed everywhere. And that's going to be the theme of our presentations today. You know, operational changes are still very manual, and ticket systems are required to schedule. So we have to prioritize the importance across all of those operational departments. And it's important that, we lay the foundations to show that we can make this change, and there's a great video on YouTube pointing to one of our customers that absolutely reduced it, but not only reduced it, but made it from, from weeks into seconds. So from that machine to machine learning process, we can actually now automate some of those processes that have become inhibitive to create this agile, free-flowing workflow. So we build our data centers, and the unit control of our data center is IP. But IP is broken. Well, it is to a degree. We build our data centers and we build our trusted zones within those data centers. We create separacy, we create segmentation. We have our internal and external walls, or our public and private networks. And as we build our applications or as our services, we segment those into our little virtual security zones, little walls, if you must, using IP addressing. And if you want service A to talk to service B, well, that's all passed with a subnet or an IP address, and we allow that traffic to flow through via firewalls or ACLs or root policies or wherever it may be. And traditionally, that actually works quite well. And, it's considered okay. But as we start to run into some challenges, when we try to have these MFA workloads or a number of IP addresses that don't last very long, we have to make sure that we manage it. And where it falls down is when we started to add these other networks, and especially the ones that we don't control, such as native cloud or the public cloud providers. And when we start adding workloads around and extending our services, we no longer have this control, and we don't have a perimeter that we can control, and it's just fundamentally doesn't work. And we really need to switch to a different way of thinking, from an IP-based unit control into an identity-based control. And that is because identity is going to be stable across boundaries, and it doesn't matter where the service starts or ends, that identity persists, similar to my analogy of the ocean. Also, the important things is we talk about zero trust network. We have to start moving into this thought process of trust nothing access and trust nothing communication. So the understanding that we are now living in this purest environment of multi-cloud, securing that overall cloud operating model has to be based on identity. And if we look at those identity-driven controls, we look at 4 different factors of what those controls are. First of all, we talk about human identity. Well, that is generally what we've used for many years, whether that's single sign-on or user directory, where we look at machine identity. We use Vault, where we can start identifying, authenticate, and authorize using secret management and data brokering. Human to machine, where we talk about boundary technology, where we can access our corporate offerings based on the access to the application that we want, rather than an access to all of the applications, and then we use security posture around that. But the more important one is machine to machine, driven out, through APIs and through calling of extra services, this agility. And that we see is where Consul fits in. And therefore the universal principle of zero trust, or defense in depth, whatever you wish to call it, has to be identity driven, and it has to be mutually authenticated with explicit authorization, time-bound, encrypted. And we also need to have governance around this. How do we audit and log and manage all that ecosystem around it as well? So compounding to those challenges are the underlying primitives. We have changed from manipulating virtual machines in a self-contained environment to manipulating cloud resources in a shared environment. Enterprise have complete operation model to maintain their existing estate while also developing this new cloud infrastructure. Those challenges of network and the cloud are often the most difficult of adopting that cloud operation model in our corporate enterprise. So the combination of dynamic IP addresses, a significant growth in east-west traffic, microservices patterns have been adopted, and that lack of clear network perimeter, it is a formidable challenge. If we look at cyber attacks, lateral movement attempts occurs 90% of those cyber attacks. Perimeter firewalls are no longer effective in preserving those internal lateral movements. So we require the need for that centralized registry and programmatically enabling service discovery and securing across this porous landscape. We need to be driven by network automation of APIs, and we need to make sure that we are utilizing the traditional middleware as well from your private data center. So again, how do we integrate those firewalls, load balancers, and those critical components to make sure they're still positioned and securing those end resources? And we also have to have a look at those middleware components as well. If we're seeing some of our load balancers and just sitting as a health check and just acting as a VIP, then maybe we can look at integrating that within the console environment as an integral feature and make things more automated and more simpler. So if as an organization we're trying to get our applications in front of our customers as quickly as possible, then we need to look at simple operation. Deployment of those critical needs is not necessarily the same across all departments and can delay the simple and obvious need. If a ticketing system is used to pass on what is needed from each department to make this service and application available, that can add delay. And as a HashiCorp stack and as an organization that was born in the cloud era, we understand this porous ocean flow and the data and the connectivity. The HashiCorp stack becomes so important for uniform global deployment, and global deployment is how we need to think about this, not just in our isolated environments, how we manage it, secure and integrate across those multiple ubiquitous runtimes. And that's where we see the likes of Consul providing that centralized registry to provide that source of truth to allow that integration. So Consul, what if the network edge was a service resource? Now, this creates many questions. We see a new pattern of microservices. We see that the monolithic service has now been broken up, which creates more complexities. We have to start managing that rules-based, how we secure for can service A talk to service B and deny service C at the same time. And the cloud becomes more familiar with this type of architecture. It does lead to complexity and it leads to cost and a risk as a microservice adoption of the cloud. But the reality is that until recently, the network middleware pattern was the only solution that really we had to address this. The public cloud led to contemporary software architectures, such as containers, Kubernetes, serverless devices now, and that needs to be optimized and managed centrally as well. So if the service architectures were birthed in a need for service mesh in the same way, then a service mesh pattern must be the commonplace for the coming years to manage this, to provide that reliability, to provide that uptime are those crucial components of the modern data center. So we need to make sure that we build these highly resilient applications, many services instances that can be scaled or removed as needed. That agility must still remain. So what does Consul provide? Well, Consul provides that central registry of all services. It will go and discover services. It will then collate them all into a catalog of a central managed solution where we can provide health checks around those services. We can manage all those service instances wherever they may resolve. whether that's in multiple cloud or even on-prem. We can also integrate your middleware, load balancers and firewalls into automation. So we can use integrated Terraform to go and provision more service instances without creating tickets or creating manual intervention to ask for extra services. And also now creating a federated service mesh to build a new way for services to communicate. So allowing that service-to-service communication across all different cloud architecture. That ultimately provides that zero trust platform for connecting those services, regardless of where they live and what runtime they're using. So this can be provisioned, whether it's VM, Kubernetes, containers, or traditional PaaS solutions. So again, providing that integration for all those services, traditional as well as new ways of thinking. And tracking those dynamic servers. Consul takes a different approach to networking. Consul has open APIs, allows users to integrate into that ecosystem technologies, enabling service discovery at scale. We have customers with 10,000, 20,000 services so within their environments, and can scale greatly. The starting point for networking in a cloud operating model is the deployment of that common service registry, which provides that directory of what services are running, where they are, and a current health status. Is that service still there? Is that instance still there? And to provide that real-time information into a GUI, which I'll show very, very quickly. How does this work? Well, we have a lightweight console agent running along with each of the service instances, allowing the service instance to be programmatically registered with the registry, as well as discovering to connect to other registered services. So within a Kubernetes pod, we can have a service daemon running, and as a service is created, it'll be discovered and ingested into our catalog. So we can leverage DNS or HTTP interface to discover those services. So using higher stack capabilities and utilizing more efficient ways of managing those services rather than by IP and MAC. In today's multi-platform and multi-cloud network, microservices running, ephemeral containers with dynamic IPs. We have environments with duplicate IP addresses. This has grown quite considerably as acquisitions are happening. The public cloud blurs the boundaries, as we discussed, and the network becomes larger, more dynamic, and it's starting to put pressure on those networking and security teams. They need to keep pace with the changes. They need to try and keep pace with the different tool sets that native cloud operators have. And these teams cannot really keep up with all those different tool sets and capabilities. Consul is perfect for this. It's built into this porous world of multi-cloud. The service mesh solution provides that full feature control plane with service discovery, configuration, and segmentation. Each of the features can be used individually as they're required, or they can be used collaboratively to create a full mesh solution. So we are allowing you to design your solution as you require them, as you need them, without the rules and boundaries as provisioned in traditional environments. Also, Consul ships with a built-in CA, security, proxy, traffic splitting, health check, everything that you need that works out of the box. Batteries included if you may, but it also supports third-party services and integrations, such as proxy integrations as Envoy. Reducing that TCP talk discussion across multi-cloud is really important. Having TCP handshakes all over the place is not necessarily the most efficient way to do, or actually possible in some places. Health checks ask from a load balance and asking services, are you okay? Are you still there? Or are you available? With Consul, those services report centrally to say, I'm here or I'm not. And then in real time, Consul will make those decisions how to forward that traffic. So Consul You know, we connect by proxy upstreams. We discover those different stages. We can do layer 4, layer 7 routing, layer 7 splitting, and we behave in the same way in each runtime. So what we can do is we can actually intelligently split traffic in accordance to what rules you want, what type of load utilization across those different services instances. We can manage those service certifications as well, so we can provide that security from service A to service B and maintain that. We can also create a service resolver, which allows you to define instances of a service to satisfy a discovery request. So again, is that service available? Is it not? And constantly, you know, updating the registry to make sure that everything is available and making sure that communication continues with encryption using TLS. So again, one of the old problems that we had within our own trusted environment was, how do we encrypt traffic locally? Well, all the traffic is encrypted using TLS through service to service. So now we have on-prem and multi-cloud encrypted services as well. So by simply having Consul added, we can just encrypt traffic from day one. I'm not going to go too much into the architecture, but you can see very simply, and you can go back and, you know, look through this at your leisure and to see how we add our solution into all those devices, how the agent or the daemon works, how we then manage those services, whether in different cloud offerings or even on premises, and then how we encrypt that traffic and simplify that connectivity by federating those data centers and making it simple and easy to manage and easy to use from a GUI perspective. And from a user's perspective and visualization and how they look, you can see very quickly from a service, from which data center, whether it's healthy, whether it's available, you'd be able to see how many instances that services have. So if it has 50 service instances hide behind it, you'd be able to see which are all healthy or which are not. You'd be able to route traffic, secure that traffic, and identify that traffic as well through certain tags. So very quickly and very easily from a multi-cloud perspective, you'd be able to see all your data centers of whatever flavor, whatever environment in a drop-down menu here. So again, making it very simple and making it very straightforward for manageability. Health is really important. Which service is up, which service instance is not. So within that same GUI, your experience is very simple. With a couple of clicks, you'll be able to see how many of those clients are available or which have failed. Enabling that consistent and secure network model everywhere, that's important. Automation across your complete landscape, including traditional middleware, and automating that process. So again, we're including the brownfield. We're not just talking about the new greenfield landscape. We're showing how we can integrate your on-premises brownfield solutions as part of that overall solution, integrating new technologies as and when, you know, making sure that we include all different runtimes and making sure our technology is the same in all different runtimes. So again, we weren't built for one specific, we were made for everything. So Consul solves those problems. You know, if we look at that overall goal of what we're trying to do, we want to make sure that we have this ubiquitous connectivity across those multi-cloud architectures. We want to make sure that we can provide that automation in our traditional and our own data centers. We want to make sure that we have the zero trust identity-based security posture, and we can encrypt that traffic based on mutual TLS of all those services, and we can make decisions based on services rather than based on IP identity. So again, now we're creating some extra intelligence. We're providing that health check and providing that service availability, and also giving you this central discovery and configuration management catalog that you can have as your source of truth of knowing how many services, where your services are, how they reside, and how, more importantly, governance of it as well. How we can give you those logs, how we can give you that policy and collaborative processes and procedures, and give you that governance so you can document based on real-time information rather than outdated spreadsheets. And just quickly, I want to talk about the consumption options that we have. That this will be discussed in more detail in a session after mine, but this is a good lead into showing that we provide all those different types of operating capabilities for you, whether you're a single user, trying to dip your toe in the water to see how it's managed from a small scale perspective, into where you maybe not have the support wrap around your business to where we can provide you that managed type of service, or we can have that enterprise solution that gives you that governance, management, and security that's wrapped around it. So HashiCorp Cloud, we can provide our console platform within cloud, within AWS. And again, this is just a link into the next discussion. But providing as a cloud offering where you don't want to manage your own scaffolding or infrastructure to deliver those solutions, then you can build out very quickly and very easily within the marketplaces of the likes of AWS and the likes of Azure as well. So you can have that fully operational solution for you. Okay. And that's me. Very, very, very quick introduction and hopefully informative into our thoughts of the multi-cloud environment and how we can provide that integration from traditional environments into cloud architecture, but also providing you a single and simple architecture from one technology. Thank you very much.
Do you see my screen?
Yes, we've got it, Jacques.
Okay, perfect. So first, I will introduce myself. So I'm Jacques Michel. I'm a strategic account manager based in France. And I'm very happy today to join the partner webinar, the Masterclass on Consul. And the topics we will leverage during my 10 to 15 minutes. 15 minutes will be how to handle new opportunities for you guys, and how leverage as well some public case study and to reply to some objections. So first, regarding Consul, as Jason said, at HashiCorp, we are a software company to provide solution to move from a static environment to a modern data center. In terms of adoption, we have some big opportunities for our partner because Consul OSS, the open source version, is well downloaded today. So the key things when you are talking to your prospect or customer, the first use case you will manage with the customer and prospect will be service discovery and health monitoring. And this is the two main points to raise with your customer as a landing deal. The challenge is very easy because as we are moving from static to dynamic, they need to have a view on what happened on their application services delivery. And then come the opportunities for both companies, HashiCorp and our partner, to provide enterprise features, because customer, when we are downloading and using and testing an MVP, for example, on Consul, quickly they need to get more features based on in the enterprise. they need to get facilities to back up, to reduce the downtime with the networking automation. And then they deploy the solution across many data centers around the world. And we'll see later some customers doing that. So a new features came in the game, and it is to have multi-platform service mesh, for example. And again, having a worldwide company with a spread data center around the world, you need to have a collaboration solution as well to optimize your operation in this critical, because most of the time, Consul is mission critical for a customer. And when the base of the data center, when you have a service mesh, service discovery, service health check on the application, software delivery have a solution, and then you need to provide governances and apply your policies, because it's key for a company to make sure that people will be allowed to interact with your solution with their own capacity in terms of policies. So, and this closes the loop in terms of global enterprise adoption. In terms of use cases, I just picked up 3 customers. The first one is Criteo. And Criteo is one of my customers. Yeah, Criteo is a global technology company in the advertising into the web. Their business is based on the cookies on the website, and they provide the best banners in terms of publicity for their publisher, their customer. Criteo has mainly services spread across 9 data centers around the world. They have 260K service application services in the catalog of services, and 4,000 of these services are mission critical. They start to use Consul and other solutions from HashiCorp and to manage some challenges, because they had the choice and they taken the decision to move from bare metal environment to a container infrastructure. So now they are managing around 40K servers across 9 data centers. For sure, the cost to reduce the impact of infrastructure was key for them, and we help in this way. And the business outcomes for this customer was very interesting, because they have accelerated the service discovery from 4 hours to a minute, which is very key, especially during the Black Friday period, and also to deliver new applications live into their data center. It takes now 1 minute versus 3 weeks, and this is key for them to use Consul at scale, and competing with Terraform as well, and Vault provide securities in this project was providing many values for the customer and some partners around this project. Second one is Mercedes-Benz, and everybody knows Mercedes-Benz today. Mercedes-Benz is one of the car manufacturers who have embraced the digital era, because they invested strongly in the R&D to provide digital services for their customer. And in terms of infrastructure, because you know now that infrastructure enabled innovation for our customer, they have adopted the Kubernetes architecture, and they have around 200 services on several Kubernetes clusters. And having these facilities to have a service discovery, to make the deployment of new applications, and make live a project from a proof of concept in production in 4 weeks, was a really compelling event for us and from the partner in this project. And the last one for today is Pandora. Pandora is a streaming music provider around the world. It's a US company. They have, for example, in terms of background for the architecture, they reach today 100 million of listeners of Pandora. They supported up to 3.3 billion of listener hours in these applications. And for them, having the capacity to automate the service discovery for 5K and 50K services was the compelling event for us and for the partner, because in terms of integrated services and quality services, they have more than 2,000 quality services at Pandora. So in terms of outcomes, so they reduce the lead time to applications rollout from several days to 50 minutes. And as you have probably understood, the key point for us is to be aligned in terms of the businesses and speed up the application delivery, secure this process, and enable the customer to provide new services, new offer in less of in minutes instead of weeks or months for some customers. All of these use cases are available in our website, so don't hesitate to get in touch with your partner sales manager to receive it. And to close the discussion, I think it would be interesting to leverage some objection we are facing at HashiCorp, and you will probably facing in your next discussion with your customer and prospect. The first one, as we are open source companies, is we are using Consul OSS, open source. But as you have seen in my previous slides, how do you manage the downtime? Because Consul with HashiCorp and HashiCorp, we are linked to the business. So what is the cost if you have a downtime of services, if you don't have the capacity to have a backup or a high availability solution on Consul? And this is the first point to engage the discussion on the enterprise. And secondly, we have also the flexibility at scale, because even you have some Kubernetes environment workloads and non-Kubernetes non-workloads, plus the multi-cloud environment, it is easy for us to scale, as we discover with Criteo, for example. In terms of competition, sometimes, and it is our main competitor today, is Istio, because when we came to a meeting to introduce Consul, and it's not the only point, and I think it's important for you guys, because we are not providing only Consul. We are driving a cloud operating model, a global project for a customer to adopt the cloud adoption. And Consul is key for the business, and we provide more, reduce the complexity for the operational team. And one key differentiator with Istio, Consul is more application-centric in a multi-cloud environment. And this is what our customer today, because we are able to manage different workloads, moving architecture from bare metal and on-prem to a container and Kubernetes environment. And this is how we're doing the difference with Istio. And the same for Pandora and Criteo, customers are not using a Consul at a standalone product with HashiCorp. They have adopted Terraform Enterprise, Vault Enterprise, and Consul close the loop in terms of global projects for the customer. And it is a real value, key advantage for us and for you. Another question came as well. it is with the ecosystem of the customer. Because as we are talking to the networking guys team, because it is the end of when you have to deliver a new applications, it is the networking. So if you are using F5, Palo Alto Networks, or different load balancer and firewall provider, they are all partnering with HashiCorp today. Because as our business is infrastructure as code, we embed this kind of solution. And with Consul, we are able, for example, on F5, to provide health status on their pool of members without any human intervention, because we are coexisting with all of these technology partners. So it's key as well to be integrated with the customer and prospect ecosystem. And the last but not least, and it is very good for you guys as a partner, because when the customer and prospect start with the OSS version, they need to migrate to the enterprise. And we have seen what are the key value to adopt the enterprise version. And this project, we cannot handle this project alone, because all projects we embed a partner with us. So you are here to drive the migration from the OSS to the enterprise, and to run the automation as well on Consul. So to me, it was the 4 key discussion and objection you can have with your prospect and customer, and for sure with the HashiCorp sales team and technical teams and partner team, we are here to support you in your customer journey. So that's all for myself. Probably I will give the end to.
Hey, Jacques. Yeah, I'll take it back. Jacques, thanks so much. That was a phenomenal overview. Lovely to hear from you, and also obviously from Jason. Obviously, these sessions are geared around, providing a bit of guidance as to what Consul is, what a customer might look like, and how we can best position. As in the previous sessions, the hope is that this high-level insight gives you guidance as to what customer pains there might be that might lead an organization to look at getting value from HashiCorp Consul. So my ask is, as in the previous sessions, please have a look at your customer base, the prospects you're working with. Are they hitting scale issues, perimeter issues that Jason was talking about? Do they have a requirement for a global service registry or network infrastructure automation, or creating a service mesh, right? A new federated way for services to communicate. If you have a look at your customers and your prospects, and if any of the topics that were raised today resonate, please reach out to us on this call or your HashiCorp partner sales manager in your region. Are you engaged with the other technology vendors that were mentioned by both Jason and Jacques, right? Are you working with Cisco, F5, Palo Alto? Consul coexists in this new network infrastructure automation space. So if you're having discussions like this around next generation networking with your customers, moving from static to a more service-based networking, then please let us know. And also, just the final point, what Jacques mentioned just then about the partnership with HashiCorp is a long-term opportunity. Don't just think about a resell, right? Selling a service, sorry, a license or a subscription. Think about really being that guide on your customer's journey to the cloud operating model. So all of these masterclass sessions have led us up to HashiConf EU, which is our community event, which kicks off on June the 8th next week. So HashiConf, put my teeth in, is it's a unique and interactive digital experience organized for the HashiCorp community. You'll be able to hear keynotes and product updates and deep dives with workshops and technical sessions, and make connections with HashiCorp folk around the world. So I think Connor's put the link into the chat, so please use that as a next opportunity to learn. But in the interim, if there are any questions for any of us on this call right now, then we'll dive to the Q&A, and I'll hand back to Connor.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Mark and Jason and Jack as well for those excellent sessions. Just the one question that came through, and it will probably be best for you, Jason, I would say. And it is Consul the only product that can help with a zero trust strategy from HashiCorp?
Great question, thank you, whoever asked that one. So from our perspective, we're providing you a stack of solutions that manage that zero trust. One of the things that I mentioned within my discussion was there are different types of identity-driven controls, whether that's human to human identity, human to machine, machine to machine, or machine identity, all of which have to be considered and integrated into this zero trust mentality. And as HashiCorp was, built within this multi-cloud environment, our stack provides those security capabilities as an integrated capability to make sure that all elements are secure and identity driven.
Got it. So is that things like Vault and there's Boundary as well?
Oh, excuse me, yeah, and I mentioned. So Vault would provide you with that identity broker of authenticating authorization, the secrets management piece. So you have the centralized secret management to manage that secret sprawl. Also providing that data protection of secrets. Human to machine that we use Boundary. Boundary allows access for users to their particular application. So when they log in remotely, they'll be able to only have access to that application rather than within a VPN that gives you access to the corporate capabilities and then your security of ACLs to make sure that user can only see what they can only see. And what we've discussed today is machine to machine. So how that consumption is automated within this porous environment, how we manage that, secure against that through this service registry. So all of our technologies that we have are utilized to make sure that we manage the whole environment and provide that zero trust identity.
All right. Well, thank you, Jason. And thanks to Jack and to Mark as well for those excellent sessions. That is the only question we had come through today. So we'll wrap things up. And just as a reminder, this session was recorded and we'll share that with everyone via email within the next 48 hours. So with that, I hope everyone enjoyed today's final masterclass session for partners in EMEA. And hopefully we get to see you at HashiConf next week. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.